Hi, everybody. This is Gigi Hyland, the Executive Director of the National Credit Union Foundation. Welcome. Happy Wednesday to you. This is the second webinar that we have done to talk about our new CUAid app. And as you can see, it's really empowering credit unions during disaster. This will be a demo of our CUAid app. And I'm so pleased to be joined by our partners at CU Apps that helped us build the app. So Brett Wooden is with us, and he's going to join me and do a lot of the speaking, but Teresa Gelderks is in the background also, who helped us work with the app. And then my wonderful executive assistant, Tracy O'Neill, is managing us from the background on a technology side of the house. So thank you, Tracy, for doing that. So Brett, I know you have control of the slides, and I'll let you kind of work through to the next slide, please. And I'll start talking a little bit about what this is and who we are and what this is all about. So I think many of you on the call probably know about the National Credit Union Foundation, but let me talk a little bit about that. We are the charitable arm of the U.S. credit union movement. We are affiliated with CUNA as CUNA's foundation, and we really work to be a catalyst to improve people's financial lives through credit unions. And what that means is that through collaborative support and donations and in-kind and talent that people give to us, we ignite, we inspire, and we respond to really help credit unions thrive and also to help their members. And if you would go to the next slide, please, Brett, that'd be great. So let me talk a little bit about our Ignite pillar. When we say we ignite credit unions' understanding about consumer financial well-being. And we really try to build passion in credit unions to focus strategically on improving financial well-being of their members and also their employees. We believe it's really at the heart of who credit unions are and what they're about in terms of their mission and our great motto of people helping people. Next slide, please. We also inspire. We inspire credit unions to leverage their cooperative principles and values to really do more for their members and for their communities. We help credit union professionals understand, why should you care that you work for a credit union? What does that mean? Why is that different from working for a bank or for a title lender? Why should you care about that? And what is our history and what are our values that are so relevant in 2020 and 2021 and beyond as we go forward and really help consumers improve their financial well-being. And so the next slide, please, Brett. So the last pillar of our work is to respond. And we are there when disaster strikes to help credit unions, their employees, and their volunteers get back on their feet so they can serve members as quickly as they can after being struck by a disaster. And it is really this pillar of work that is the prompt for this demo and for a new tool that we've developed to help credit unions be more, I think, adaptive when disaster strikes. So next slide, please. So CUAid was developed in 2006, and it was done in cooperation with state credit union foundations, state leagues, and CUNA. And it was done to make sure that the credit union system, when disaster striked, could be responsive to our credit union family members to make sure that they were, again, up and running as fast as they could be in order to serve members who also had been affected by disaster. And so, as you can see, we activate CUAid during natural disasters, anything from hurricanes to wildfires to tornadoes, also to man-made disasters. So when the Oklahoma City bombing happened, our response was there, and that was really kind of the birthplace for CUAid. And how CUAid works is that when disaster strikes, we have a pool of general disaster relief money that has been not used in previous disasters, and that forms a pool of money that we can use to respond immediately to a disaster that strikes. But also when disasters are really, it's hard to say that one disaster is smaller than another, but when we have a lot of disasters that happen at once, or we have just a huge amount of damage, we will go out to the credit union system and request support and donations to continue to fund that fund so that we can continue to have grants that we can do to help credit union people and credit unions and their volunteers get back on their feet. And that winds up being a little bit of an intermediate disaster relief. And so one of the things that we've talked about is how can we connect credit unions when disaster strikes immediately to respond to some of the needs that they have. And Brett, if you could go to the next slide. And that's really how this app was born. Mary Patouk at PSCU, my thought partner in this, we really looked at what had happened in Hurricane Michael that struck the panhandle of Florida. And we realized that there was a lot of opportunity for credit unions to connect on things like burner phones or portable generators, sometimes cash, sometimes personnel. And that there wasn't a really good way to do that, because if there was a portion of a network that was down, you might not be able to call somebody. So was there a way to have a database in the background that you could look on an app and you could find a way to connect with someone who might be able to help you? And that's really how this app was birthed. And we're very fortunate and very thankful to have the monetary support both of CUNA Mutual Group and of FIS to support the building of this app. And so what this is an app that you can download, and Brett's going to talk about all the logistics, but it contains several things. It contains an opportunity for you to list and do a checklist of your preparedness. Are you really prepared for disaster? And you can go through that checklist and check off what you've done. Are you ready? So it's a great way to just double check your continuity plan and your continuity of operations plan. It offers you an opportunity to actually report disaster. So if a tornado just hit your credit union and nobody else knows about it, you can hit that, and we at the national level, at the local level, will be notified much more quickly that a disaster has struck and that you're probably going to be needing some help. It offers you an opportunity to connect with other credit unions so that you can see what resources are available if you need them. It also can serve as a place where credit unions can come to you if they need resources. And Brett will talk a little bit more about that. And then last but not least, when disaster strikes, the generosity of the credit union system is amazing. And oftentimes the best thing that people can do if they're far away from a disaster is simply to donate to CUAid, so that we have the funds that we can then turn around and grant out to our state credit union foundation partners and our league partners to help credit union employees and volunteers get back up on their feet, feel like they have a cushion, so again, they can get back to the credit union and serve members. So that's that's sort of the big overview. What I will say to you is that we go through this webinar, you may have questions, and I would urge you to put that either in the chat section or in the Q&A section at the very bottom of your screen. I'm going to be monitoring the chat. So I will, as Brett presents, I'm probably going to be interrupting him with your questions so that we can try to answer them on this call. But please feel free to just put your questions in the Q&A or in the chat, and I'll monitor them. And with that, it's my pleasure to hand it over to Brett Wooden, who is the COO of Providence Credit Union, and also runs the QSO owned by Providence Credit Union, which is known as CU Apps. So Brett, I'm going to turn it over to you, please.
All right, great. Thank you, Gigi. So today we're going to, and I'll pull up the kind of overview. So today, there it is. That'd be the play. Sorry about that. There we go. So today we're going to review over a quick demo of the app. We're going to go over kind of the instructions, how you access it. There's 3 ways in which you can access the platform. So the first one is we do have a web version, which I'm going to be sharing today. We also have the app in the Apple App Store, and we also have the app in the Google Play Store. So that gives you 3 areas in which you can access the app. But today, like I said, we'll be using the web version. We're going to go over a demo, and then we're going to kind of go into the questions and next steps. So when you look at the app, and kind of like what we always do when building an app is we look back what was currently in place, and then where do we want it to go. And so in the past, there was forms that credit unions would fill out when preparing, and they would either fax or scan and email these. And then when a disaster was striked, they would also fill out a form and fax it in or email it. And so what we wanted to do is take all of that data and put it inside the app. So you'll see as we go through the demo today, and like Gigi said, there is a prepare element, a connect element, as well as a report element. And so we'll go through that. And what's beautiful about that is the more data that we put into it, the more is available for individuals to share, as well as prepare their credit unions for business continuity plans and disaster relief plans. So let me jump into that demo. So like I said, I'm going to go into the web version. So when you open the app or download the app or go to the web, you'll be started off you'll have the login or the register. And so if you have not registered yet, this is where you would register and have your credit union join the platform. So we'll click on this. And so in here, you can see we list out there's 3 steps. So the first step is that enrollment step. So the individual that's filling out this information should be that point of contact for the credit union. So essentially, this would be the individual that oversees the disaster recovery, business continuity plan. I'm going to be logging in from Providence Federal Credit Union's app today, and you'll see that Leo is our AVP of IT who oversees it. So really one person from the credit union should enroll. That individual, and I'll show today, once inside the app, can add users, other individuals that are part of that business continuity planning and planning for a disaster. The second is you'll go to that prepare form, fill out that prepare form. And then the third is what to do when a disaster strikes, how can you help, or if you need help. So when you go through the form, you'll fill all of this out. If you are a league, association, or partner, when you're filling out this information, we would recommend that you just put in ones in the charter number. And in the core system, I would recommend that, or we recommend that you just put in, type in other instead of putting in a core. So you would fill out this information. Once you have checked the box that you authorize your credit union or league or partner, you would click register, and you're going to get a confirmation email sent. And so essentially what that does is it's just a form of security. You'll go to your email that you listed in here and you'll click the confirm, and then that will allow you to access the app. So after you register, you'll go into that login screen, and that, based on your registration, this is what you'll plug in for your username and password. And so I'm going to do my Providence account that we've set up. So once you're in the app, as Gigi mentioned, there are 4 components to the app. So the first one is that prepare. So this is where your credit union, part of your business continuity plan, part of your conversations, you would tap on that prepare. And this is what you would begin to start filling out the information about your credit union. So as you can see here, Providence, we filled out how many ATMs we have, what type of ATMs are those, what networks are we on. And so there's tabs for each section of the credit union and disaster plan. So once you click next, the beautiful thing I will say about this form is that the moment you make one action, so if you click one box, it begins to save all the data. So there's really no need for you to worry. So if you kind of get in it, work half of it, and you get tied into something else and you have to come back, all your information will be saved up to date where you've worked. This section right here on the context, your resource contact, this one is also important to plug in this information. This will be the person that shows up on that connect section, which I'll show you in a couple minutes. So as you can see, Leo is our AVP of IT, his phone number and email address. So this will show up when you're trying to connect. And this is a great person to reach out to in the event that you need help at your credit union and you're trying to connect with another credit union. Once you go through all of these sections, you'll end with the last status. And when you click done, it will say prepared form, and essentially this stores it in the database. And this essentially prepares you so when individuals are searching for things or we need to look up your information to help you out, all of that information, it's a confirmation that it's stored and saved. So once you prepare your credit union, the next kind of thing that could come up is you're going through a disaster. What would you do next? So if you need resources, you would go to the connect section. And in here, you would go to that find resources tab. And when we click here, here is the way in which you can search for other things available. So for example, if I am in need of a generator, I can type in my state. So it can be state specific searches. I can type in, let's say I know a local credit union in the area and I want to see if they can help me out. or I can just see what's available out there. So if I click search, it's going to pull up all the credit unions that are currently in the database. I'm just going to click on Providence. And so right now I see that this is the resource contact at Providence. So I could reach out to Leo at Providence. I know they're a Scimitar shop, and maybe they can help me out with maybe a connection or helping our membership out. But I also want to see if they have a generator. And as you can see, they have a generator. They've listed things out. Providence currently does not have mobile branches that we could borrow or burner cell phones. So again, this is just a way in which you can search. We also have done search specific things. So if we click generator and we click search again, it's only going to pull up the credit unions that have the generators available. And that is the find the resources tab. And that would be kind of if you're in the event of a disaster. We also have the ability to alert individuals. So if there is a hurricane hitting in a specific area and we wanted to shoot a push notification, which is when that lovely notification pops up on your cell phone and says, notification, there's, rain is coming to your area, or we can send those out, but you can also view those here. And so these are the alerts in which we can send out. So we could say donate, to individuals that have been affected by a hurricane or credit unions that have been affected. So this is kind of another resource area for you to come to. The last thing under the Connect tab is that contact. So if at any point that you had any questions or you were experiencing some difficulties at your credit union because of a disaster, you can click on this contact section, and these are the individuals that you can reach out directly to at the foundation. And then the last the second to last button on here is that report. So as Gigi said, if a tornado hits your credit union and you want to be able to alert the foundation and the individuals a part of this app quickly, this is where you would report that disaster. So if we clicked on the report, you would fill out all of this information. So who's reporting it, the phone number, email, date of your communication, time of your communication, who the contact is, type of disaster. And as you go through these, you can see it's very interactive. So if you said, are all your branches operational? And you said no, it's going to ask for more specific feedback. So what branches are affected? Are you having trouble providing service to your members? Once you click this submit button or tap the submit button, it is going to immediately alert the individuals at the foundation. So letting them know that you have experienced a disaster. And it also stores it in the database so we can begin to start utilizing the resources within the app itself. Then the last thing, if you're like the credit union I work for, Providence, we are in the Northwest and we see a lot of the hurricanes that hit in Houston, hit in Florida, and we want to contribute and help those individuals, and we really can't ship our generator across country. You can go to that donate button there, and that connects directly to the CUAid donation page that you can make a donation to those those credit unions in need. So when you first get into the app, so one of the things we want to also cover is how do you add other individuals? How do you maintain kind of your credit union's profile within CUAid? So there's that gearbox up top. So if we tap on that gearbox, the first one is your profile. So when you set up your profile within the CUAid app, you put your first, last name, your email address. This is where you can change all of that information. You also have the ability to add in your logo. So this is when you are searching for those credit unions in that connect section, it can show your credit union's name and logo in there as well. And this is that section. Once you fill all that out, if you type update, it'll update it immediately. How do we add users? So when we want to add additional users, we would click here. And as you can see, we've got 2 users currently in ours. We've got myself, and we also have Leo, our director of our AVP of IT. And so as you can see here, he's an administrator. When we want to go add someone, we would click create. You fill out all the information. Once you plug in that password and email address and click create, it is going to shoot the user that you added an email for them to confirm their temporary password and email address, and then that sets them up in the platform.
Hey, Brett, just one question for you on users. How would you advise credit unions to think about how many users they should have? And what are maybe talk through how Providence has thought about it or is going to think about it in terms of who might you want to have access to this app from your credit union from different lenses in addition to business continuity planning. Could you talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah. So one of the things we do is we're going to have one key individual from each department. So one department head. So we have one from our lending team, one from our operational team, one from our accounting team, and that's part of our business continuity plan. And that really helps kind of steer that conversation. So one of the things we've started to do as a credit union is we meet one Monday out of every month and talk about that continuity plan, talk about what we would do in the event of a disaster. And so those would be the individuals you'd want to add in there. There is kind of differences in what you can make an individual within. So an administrator, their role within this is they can add and delete users. A member, they can just essentially view the data. So they really don't allow them to, add, change, the information within that the credit union has put in there. So that's one thing that we would discuss as well is who really needs that availability to make changes within that prepare form or report a disaster. And so that would be my recommendation. That's essentially what we're doing at Providence is that our business continuity team, and one of the things is when the regulator came in from the NCUA, they are definitely discussing that business continuity plan now. And so that's what makes this app so great is we can kind of tie in that team and that plan we're putting together and tie it into this app as well as another resource. Does that answer your question, Gigi?
It does. Let me unmute myself. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah. The last little thing that I'll point out kind of in this user section is there is the little lock box here, the little lock. When you have users within here, you want it to be unlocked. So that essentially means that they can make changes within. It's not just view only access. Once you lock that box, the individuals essentially can only log in and view certain things. They can't report disasters. It kind of puts them in even a smaller version of that member role. So, one of the things we always recommend is just leave that open. That still gives the individuals the ability to contribute within the app from the credit unions. And then the last thing to point out in the gearbox is the security feature. So this would be that section if you need to change your password or update your password, and then also dual authentication. So this is that lovely feature that essentially when you put your password in when you're logging in, it shoots you that text message with that code for you to prompt as well. And I think, Gigi, I just saw a question pop in the.
Yep, absolutely. So the question was, will a demo be included in the email with the username and password, or would we be responsible for trying to explain this to folks?
I think I believe that these sessions are recorded, correct? Yeah.
So we're actually recording this particular webinar that we're doing, but we're also going to have several others in the coming weeks. So I hope that answers your question. And if not, whoever's asking it, because it's an anonymous attendee, let us know. I think the other thing I would add is that we're developing an FAQ and a user guide that will be ready by the end of this week that will also push out to the attendees on these webinars that we've had 2 of them so far. To all of you, we'll get a link to all of that, but we'll also be communicating this out through our State Credit Union Foundation colleagues, league communicators, leagues, CUNA, so kind of any opportunity to communicate about this app. So hopefully that answers the question. If not, please feel free to, to ask it again or clarify. So thanks, Brett. Go ahead.
And that's really it with the demo of the app. Again, the one recommendation that I would have is, that key individual who registers, the first thing they do is kind of come in, go to that user and add the users in that they'd like a part of it, and then start adding it as part of your conversation. So literally, the AVP of Providence and myself of IT, we sat and met and went through the document. And then what we did is we developed kind of a plan of like, who else do we want to involve in this as part of our business continuity? And it's really worked out well. It's created really good conversations as well as kind of a great resource for us to tap into when needed. And just to end, the 3 places that you can access this again is the web version, which is the CUAid.ncuf.coop. And then you can also access these by searching in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Market. And you just literally can type in CUAid and it'll pop it up in the search.
That's awesome. Thank you, Brett, for going through it. And, we certainly have some time. So if others have questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. Happy to do that. And then Tracy, also, we've only got about 26 people, which is a nice intimate group. So if you would like to unmute people and people feel more comfortable just asking us questions, it'd be nice to hear your voice rather than just have a flat screen, because we're all sick of flat screens. So if you want to, Tracy, if you could unmute folks, you can also go ahead and just ask a question once you're unmuted. Brett, was there anything else you wanted to say about the app right now?
No, that's just, definitely get in and the best thing with apps is just to get in there and play and experience it. And then also the other big thing is we love ratings in the App Store. So we all love our industry and what we do. And the more ratings we get in the App Store on the CUAid app, the higher it gets in the rankings and the more essentially it shows up in Apple search, and it just kind of gets more publicity for our industry as well as the app itself. So.
Awesome. And let's see, Pat, I think I unmuted you, but let me make sure of that. So Patricia O'Connell, I know you asked a question, you raised your hand.
Oh, I did, JD. I didn't mean to, but I do have a question. So
it's all good. No, so please go ahead. Yeah, it's great to hear your voice. What's your question?
How are you? This is amazing. It really is. I'll be talking to a lot of the credit unions I work with. I did already include it in an alert, the link to it, because I had an alert up on different aids that were available to credit unions at this time. So it was perfect to include it. But now seeing it in action, there's issues it raises that I would never have even thought of, like to the point of generators. So I don't have a question other than a comment that it is very, very helpful in my opinion and very easy to navigate. So congratulations.
Thank you. Well, thanks for participating in the webinar. And certainly as you have additional questions or user questions, just keep in contact with us so that we can make sure, again, the FAQ, we've got some standard questions that people have asked us, and we're building that out with each of these demos because new questions are coming up. So please just pass those along to us. But, thanks for taking the time to look at it. So, yeah. Other questions from anybody? Give people a minute to type. So you can either type or you can talk. You are all unmuted. Let's see. Mary Ellen, I just saw your question. Hold on. So Mary Ellen, with the many California fires, would a credit union need to register in order for us to donate to them? So I can take that one. The answer is no. They don't have to register in the CUAid app. And just to be really clear, donations when disaster strikes can happen a whole bunch of different ways. So if you have a sort of a credit union that's close by that you simply want to donate to, you can do that on your own, whether it be, money or staff or whatever you need. If you want to donate, and Brett gave this example, Brett is in Portland, Oregon, but he's seeing all of these hurricanes hit the East Coast. Well, they can't really send anything, or so the best way they can help is by donating to CUAid, and then we can funnel that money through our partners in the case of Florida, through the League of Southeastern Credit Unions, and grant money as we would normally for disasters. So there are lots of different ways to help credit unions. I think what we love about, and what, you know, it kind of prompted this again, is to, if you think of CUAid as kind of the like day 2, day 3, day 4 effort, this app really helps with the day 1, day 2, day 3 effort, because it offers a level of immediacy to have credit unions connect when they really need something like a portable generator. I need that now to get my branch up and running, or I need a mobile branch because my whole headquarters got demolished. So it's that immediacy where cooperation amongst cooperatives comes in, and hopefully this app will help people connect. So it's really important, as Brett said, the more people, the more credit unions we can have register for the app, the richer the database is, so that when something happens, you really have a really robust list of who you can contact in the event that you need something, or that you can donate something to another credit union. So hopefully that answers your question, Mary Ellen. Yes, thank you. All right. Any other questions? So Kathleen, do we want to encourage credit unions to register in advance? Absolutely. Don't wait until there's a need. Register now. Go through that preparedness checklist. Make sure that your disaster planning is really as robust as it can be. And then you'll have it ready. So that's another resource that you can point to in your business continuity operations, that you've done the checklist and you have the app that you can turn to for the resources that you need in the event disaster strikes, or you want to contribute to one part of the country where disaster has struck. So yes, please do it now. You know, it's the old, what is it, the old fable about the ant and the grasshopper, that the ant was always very prepared and the grasshopper not so much. So sorry to throw a little Aesop fable into the conversation, but it's that. It's really be prepared now so that when disaster does strike, you're ready, and you have this as one of your many tools. So great question. Thank you, Kathleen. Thanks for getting the word out. Appreciate it. Anything else? Well, awesome. Well, again, thank you for your time in participating in this demo. I think seeing is hopefully believing, and it makes it a little easier to sign on. Thank you, Brett and Teresa, for all your work in helping us build the app, and Brett for so eloquently running through its capabilities and showing people what it can do. I would urge people, you know, if you have any questions, please go to ncuf.coop, and we have information on the disaster relief part of our website that talks more about the app. It'll have the FAQ, it'll have where to sign up for the app, it'll have the user guide, sort of all of that will be there. So just keep an eye on that. And again, if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me, to Tracy, to any of our team members. So I'm going to thank you, Mary Ellen, for the kind words. Is there any, before we end, is there any other either comment or question that anybody might have?
Can you repeat what you said about the charter number and the course system when you're entering?
Sure, absolutely. Brett, do you want, absolutely. Brett, do you want to go ahead and take that?
Yeah, so let me, since I still got the screen up. So in here, if you are a non-credit union, so if you're a league or business partner or association, I would just honestly put in like 4 ones. That's what we've kind of been instructing, as well as on the core system itself, just type in other, and then that'll, whoops, gotta create it. Just type in other, and then we'll click create. And so that'll just prompt it as other, and then shoot an email to the foundation, letting them know that you are a partner that has registered for it. So that way, if you don't want your data shared or your kind of information shared, you just want to be able to help out, they can hide you from that Connect search. But what you would do is, but if you are a credit union, you would fill out credit union name, your charter number, what core system you're on, and you would fill out all that information in the registration.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure thing. Yeah, and again, any questions, you know, our FAQ is going to cover that, but again, just don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have anything as you start to register this, or help credit unions register for the app. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, everybody, for your time. Stay well and stay healthy. Thanks for spending some time with us. We hope that this is really useful to you. That's obviously our intent here. And we look forward to connecting with you soon by email or by phone in case you have any additional questions. So thank you, Brett, and thank you, Teresa. There's one more question, Kathleen. You're catching me just as I'm wrapping up. Yes, the state foundations will be notified if you register for the app, and then we'll make sure, because when a disaster happens, the notification comes to us if people report a disaster, but our next step will be an immediate notification to our State Credit Union Foundation colleagues, which I think is going to cut off probably a good day or two from the timing that we currently have, which takes a little while. So the answer is yes. Our first process is we get a notification of disaster, we're going to reach out to you all, ASAP. So the answer is yes, and it'll be from either Hannibal or from me or one of my team members at the foundation. So great question. All right, everybody, I'm going to give you back some time in your day, and thanks again. Stay well, and we'll talk soon. So thanks, everybody. Take care.